Mm-hmm. And on the topic of training all the time, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but like, do you remember the last time that you felt like not as because there's waves, but not as deeply motivated to go to the gym, or just more like you just like like you haven't been feeling it. Has that happened to you guys recently, or you guys just been good?
More recently, I've been pretty good, but sometimes when you try something new for a little while, you are like, because you know it's gonna. You kind of are familiar with the fact that there's a little bit of like hurt involved, and so it's going to take a couple weeks to kind of get over that hump. So when I first started messing with running, even though I like running, start to run more often, and then running starts to become like a thing, and then somewhere in the middle there, you get into this funk of like, I don't really want to, but you know that you want to do it. You know that you've kind of set out to do it. But you're also kind of anticipating the pain. I think the same thing can happen with something like myofascial release. Like, you know how good that is for you, but like something kind of hurts and you don't want to take, it doesn't make any sense at all. You don't want to take the 3 to 6 minutes that it could take for you to release something and to feel better, because you're like, that's going to hurt. And so you choose kind of not to do it, and you go on and carry on your day. And next thing you know, that stupid thing that was very minor got to be worse.
Yeah, I think, I've been really good lately with the introduction of jiu-jitsu. I've been, I'll say, playing it smarter, not harder lately. So like I will have on the days I don't do jiu-jitsu, I lift, and there's been a couple times where I'm like, dude, I didn't sleep enough. I'm feeling wrecked. I'd rather put a little bit more energy into like jiu-jitsu tomorrow. So maybe today I'll go a little bit lighter, or like the sets of 4 that I was going to do, maybe I'll do sets of 3, and I don't do my final set, which is usually the heaviest and hardest. I personally have to get there though. It's sort of like, I should save it all for tomorrow. I can go in and do a little something, and I'll go in and do a little something, and then I see how I'm feeling, and I make that agreement of saying, all right, we're doing 3 instead of 4. We're not doing the heavy set, but that means we're going to do like all of the exercises that we kind of set out to do.
Yeah, no, I dig that, because it's not the all or nothing. Like I wish every single day I woke up raring to go and super excited about lifting and jiu-jitsu, but that's just not how it is. Like there are many days you get up and it's just like, all right, well, we just need to go, right? And there are certain weeks where just everything just doesn't feel great. You're just like, why is this happening to
It's
me?
discouraging.
It's very discouraging, right? But I think the worst thing is, it's happened to me before too, where you just choose not to do something, and the next day you're like, fuck, it's even worse today because I didn't do something yesterday. So always the best decision is just to figure something out.
And what is it? What's your goal? What's your goal? Like if you're saying you want to lose 20 pounds, or you want to move up a rank in jiu-jitsu, or you want to be able to run further, how into it are you? I kind of like to think that way, because then it's like a challenge, rather than this like thing that I have to do. It's more like a challenge, and it sets a bar, and then I can decide how hard I want to work at it. Am I going to do the same amount as a professional runner? Someone that's making money doing it at this stage in my life? No. Like I'm not. I don't care that much about it. I enjoy it. I have a lot of fun with it. I want to do the best that I can with it, but I'm not going to set everything else aside just to be able to run better. And I'm also not going to lift the way that I want to lift just to run better. So maybe someone can make an argument and say, hey, if you relaxed on your lifting, you would be able to run better. And even if I was to agree with that, I would say, well, I don't care because I like lifting, even if it's to some of the detriment of my running. And I would rather this process take longer for me to work through. And also, even if it means I never really reach the level that I could or should, I like lifting enough to keep that in there. So for me, I always kind of like to view it as like a challenge. How good do you want to get at this? I do want to improve a lot. I do want to make advances, but I also am willing to admit, like, I'm not so dedicated to it that I'll remove everything else.
And one thing that I noticed is, like, when I start to feel that way too, or when I start to feel a little bit run down, it's usually because like I've been trending down the road of like not resting enough, or like going, like you were mentioning, Andrew, going a little bit too hard, right? So we talk about sleep so much, but if it hasn't been drilled in, one of the best ways that you can kind of get yourself out of feeling like shit is to set yourself up for the next day not to feel like shit, which is actually meaning get a good night's rest, get a full good night's rest so that you wake up and you wake up feeling good. Because if you get 7 hours versus you typically get 5 hours, you're going to feel much more motivated that morning to go get things going. But if you've been perpetually under-rested, you'll have to bring about a bit more willpower and motivation to do the things that you know you got to do.
Yeah, you'll start searching for the pre-workouts, the injectable L-carnitine, all these things when you could easily just get a better night's sleep.
Power Project family, your normal shoes are making you weak. This is why I partner with Vivo Barefoot Shoes, because they have a wide toe box, they're flat, and they're flexible. So with every single step you're taking, if you're taking a 10-minute walk outside, or when you're working out in the gym, your feet are able to do what they're supposed to do in this shoe. They have tons of options for hiking, running, training in the gym, chilling and relaxing, casual shoes for if you're out on a date. You need to check them out. And Andrew, how can they get it?
Yes, that's over at vivobarefoot.com/powerproject, and you guys will receive 15% off your order automatically. Again, vivobarefoot.com/powerproject. Links to them down in the description, as well as the podcast show notes.
Better night's sleep, good nutrition. You know, nutrition is a recovery strategy that we kind of forget about sometimes. So making sure you have enough food. If you're trying to fast and like lose weight and perform better in the gym, there might be a handful of things that you're trying all at one time that might be occasionally working against you. Sometimes the best thing you can do is to take a day off of something. You know, we are kind of talking a little bit about getting into a slump and getting into a funk. But I think to advance you further, faster, you sometimes have to take the run-walk strategy that some people will use in marathon racing, half marathons, and even ultras. There's people that will still run really, really good times. There's actually people that have recorded some of the best times in ultra marathon running by using some walking strategies. And you're like, how is that possible? Well, because they're pulling back just enough to rest just enough during the activity that when they feel rested enough, they go again. And right before they get to a point where they feel overly exhausted, they do this before they get to a point of no return. They shut it back down again and they say, okay, walk. A lot of people will walk a lot of hills when it comes to like a marathon. And when I did my last half marathon here in Sacramento, there was people that walked and jogged and they beat me. And I would pass them. I would pass them and then they would pass me. I would pass them, then they'd pass me. I'm just paying attention to myself. That day was supposed to be paced at a certain pace, and I'm not fast either way, so it doesn't matter too much. But you see them pass you and you're like, how's this going to end up? You know? And a lot of them, I mean, I did beat some people, but a lot of them did end up passing me, because they have a strategy, right? And so you need to have a strategy. How can you, if you stay up too late and watch a movie with your significant other, that might be important for you. The next morning you might wake up and go, shit, man, there's no way I can make it to practice today. There's no way I can make it to the gym this morning. So you have to develop strategies that are going to allow you to recover from the things that you want to do in your life. And then you have to prioritize these things. But how do you prioritize them? You like doing all of them. You like to lift, you like to run, you like to be with your girl. And so it can make it difficult to try to juggle all these things all at one time.
Yeah, I think one thing you could do too is like, if there's a certain week or a string of weeks where for some reason getting to the gym or getting to your jiu-jitsu class or something, whatever it is, it just feels like an undertaking. At least try to get in the simple minimum things, right? So even if a week is just pretty rough, I'll still make sure to get walks in. I'll still make sure to get some type of body weight movement in. So I'll do some push-ups or some type of general movement in. I'll do my best not to overeat. So even though like I'm doing all this stuff, I'll fast so that I'm not overeating too much and gaining too much excess fat. There are things you can do on those weeks where you're feeling a bit tired, that will still have you having some type of forward momentum. But you don't want to get to a place where you're just like, I'm sitting down all day, I'm not doing much, or I'm maybe I'm going to work and I'm not getting any type of steps in. You don't want to totally move backwards. If you have those minimum habits, that'll at least keep you where you are so that you can continue to move forward a little bit later.
And if you don't have those habits, what happens to you? Do you like immediately go to 260?
Not
like
immediately.
If you're not gonna,
over time.
like
yeah.
if you're not going to move much for a couple days and you know that you're not going to be as active, do you have to be pretty strict with fasting and stuff like that? You think?
Yeah, I have to pay better attention to the food I eat. Like, I'm not going to eat nearly as many carbohydrates. I'm probably going to fast a little bit more so that I don't overeat, because if I eat through the day and I'm not doing something too, I will gain weight quickly.
So I think that's a good example. Like, here's a guy that everyone always wants to just say, it's genetics, right? Everyone has to have rules. We all have to have some rules, and we all have to set them. And it's important that you figure out a way to stay attached to your fitness in some way. I think, what are the things that you like to do? There's probably a handful of things that you really don't love to do. There's probably certain moves in the gym where you're like, that stupid move always kind of hurts my shoulder, or throw my lower back out every time I try that. I think you are trying to give yourself really good impressions of the stuff that it is that you're doing, so you encourage yourself to do it more often. There's a bunch of different things you can do to get yourself kind of fired up and excited about things. One is you can have a training partner. Sometimes that can be really useful.
Oh, yeah.
Another thing is you can try something new or different. Sometimes trying something new or different can cost some energy. Like, if you try something completely new, like instead of going for a lift, you do yoga. Like that's like a totally different thing, but that could invigorate you and get you excited about something new and different. But maybe instead of just doing like your normal bodybuilding workout, maybe you shift to lifting a little heavier for a few weeks. Or maybe you say, I wonder, the West Side Barbell program, they do box squats and these different things. I wonder how that would feel. I'm going to try that. So you're just a little open-minded to doing something slightly different. You can also just do things where you use less rest. You're doing stuff in between sets, so it gets you breathing harder. Just anything that's like slightly different than what you're currently doing will probably be something that you will learn very quickly if you dig it or not.
I think that's pretty fucking huge, actually, because like Andrew, you have a fuck ton of options now. You have jujitsu, you have your cable machine in your garage, you have here, you have a lot of things that you're pretty proficient at. So for some reason, if jujitsu is kind of shit for some reason for you, for me too, you have gym stuff that you could do pretty easily. And I think when you only have the option of just the gym as something to use to exert yourself, because after you work out, you'll feel good. But if you're feeling kind of burnt out there and you don't have anything else, it's very easy just to revert to nothing because you don't have other options. So a fucking Bikram yoga class, learning how to do a little bit of running, jujitsu, just going to a CrossFit class, all these things can give you a lot of options because it's inevitable that there's going to be a time where you just don't feel what you're doing, or it's just not as exciting. And you're like, fuck, what do I do now?
It's a good one is a new gym.
Oh, yeah.
Every once in a while, different scenery, different environment. Go to a new gym if you're a young guy and you're single. And you go to a new gym, there's also new ladies around.
Gotta be careful these days.
That's true. But you could wear sunglasses while you're working out.
There you go.
You get a good workout in, and on
Stevie Wonder.
Just as soon as you're leaving the gym, another hot girl walks in, and then now you're there for another 90 minutes, and then you're about to leave 90 minutes later, and another hot girl walks in.
I have done that before when I was younger. It's like I finished a workout, and I was leaving, and
sitting there for like 7.5 hours.
Let me go do 2 more sets.
I was just checking to see if my car alarm was on. Boop, boop. Yep, it is.
Yeah.
Pat Project family, we appreciate you checking out this clip. Check out another one. Just go check out another one. Or comment down below and let us know what you liked about this one. But we love you guys, and we're going to keep bringing you the heat. So comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff, okay? Peace.